Hey guys, it's Quinn, and today we'll be taking a look at the 2023 box office smash Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer stars Cillian Murphy as the title character, joined by Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., and about 20 other A-list celebrities in one of the most star-studded films to come out in years. The film was designed to be a box office smash, which it pretty much accomplished, but have the earnings match the hype? Well, let's find out. Before we begin, note that this review will be spoiler heavy, though it is a historical film, so you've had your entire lifetime to find out what happens. So, the film centers on Oppenheimer's ability to retain his security clearance during the Red Scare, which is ran in parallel with Robert Downey Jr.'s character ability to be appointed to the United States cabinet. Everything that happens in the film is subservient to these two plot points, and that is where the film fails miserably. As an audience, you are given none, zero, no reason to care about either of these plot points. Oppenheimer's ability to keep his security clearance has no stakes in the context of the film, for he has already invented the bomb by the time the hearings are held. Oppenheimer is not a particularly likable character in this film, so when he does not keep his clearance, you as the audience feel a complete sense of indifference, for we are never told why we should care about this decision. And this is ultimately the flaw with the film. Events happen, but you feel no stake in any outcome, for no event in the movie has any implications for future scenes. For instance, there's a scene where someone commits suicide, yet it is so rushed and shoehorned into the plot, with no emotional payoff or implications for any character, that if you had taken a bathroom break during the scene when it happened, you'd have had no idea that it occurred. This issue is pretty pervasive throughout. Every scene is entirely unconnected, such that there's no reason to care about or retain any singular moment. Further, there's no clear finale such that these unrelated events even have a payoff. This leads to a sort of meandering, guideless film with no sort of thematic, philosophical, or really even interesting takeaway. There's no better example of this in the film than Robert Downey Jr.'s character. They spend a solid 30 to 45 minutes of the film going into whether he'll get confirmed by the United States Senate to the cabinet. And look, it doesn't matter one iota if it happens or not. It affects no other character. We as an audience are never given a reason to root for or against the character. It just happens, unrelated to any other scene in the movie. So when the decision comes, we as an audience are left to ask why we were forced to effectively watch clips of C-SPAN rather than be given any sort of emotional or intellectual payoff. You could cut the entire hearing out of the film and the film would be the exact same. This is horrific from a structural perspective and demonstrates how vapid this entire movie was. And this would be excusable if there was any other redeeming qualities. However, the dialogue is clunky. For instance, they shoehorn in a reference to JFK, which was totally out of place, and did not in the slightest resemble how people would actually talk to one another in the circumstances of the scene. And this is emblematic of the sort of roll your eyes nature of a lot of the conversations that occur between characters for the entire film. It all felt really unrealistic and Hollywood-esque rather than real-life dialogue. Pacing-wise, the second half of the film dragged on to a point where I was literally checking my watch, which I haven't done in a movie in, I think, ever. Even sound mixing-wise, it was hard to hear the dialogue at points, which seems to just be sort of a consistent issue for Christopher Nolan at this point. All that being said, the acting and cinematography were excellent. That is undeniable. But it is inexcusable to have a 3-hour film wherein there is no tension at any point. You must make it clear, or at least imply to the audience why the Senate hearing for Robert Downey Jr. or the security clearance for Oppenheimer matter. Because there are no emotional stakes for the audience, you are effectively left as an audience watching two separate court cases wherein you do not care if the defendant wins or loses. The result is one of the most boring movies I have seen in many years, and frankly a complete waste of time. Some may argue that the takeaway from this movie should be how these monolithic individuals are incredibly flawed and worked in a flawed system to make a device greater than we could ever imagine. It can be viewed as sort of a, look into the human spirit. But I just don't buy this meta argument. A movie needs a plot. You can have these meanings come out, which is what effective movies do. For instance, 12 Angry Men is sort of a textbook example on how to demonstrate the fragility of men through the lens of a plot, so it can be done. However, Oppenheimer takes this example and instead decides to shove together 50 unrelated clippings and call it a movie. The result is an unexciting and guideless film, which is all that Oppenheimer ends up achieving. As is obvious, I loathed this movie. Unexciting at best, insulting to the intellect of moviegoers everywhere at worst. A complete snooze fest, which relied too much on technical achievements, which did happen, but too little on any sense of plot development. It will win Oscars, definitely, for cinematography and acting, and that is all it should be remembered for. Go see Barbie instead, would be my rating for this movie. So what did you guys think of Oppenheimer? Was I far too mean on it? Let me know in the comments section below, and as always, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time for more movie reviews. Ciao.